Werewolves, a thing of nightmares and campfire stories, right? Maybe not. Join us for the second episode in the Foolish Wanderers Spooktober series, Bill Ramsey, the real-life werewolf. Do you have a special drink of choice today?
I don't. I mean, I can. I don't
No,
know.
you don't have to make something or grab something. That's fine.
I could sip. It is freezing in here. I could sip on something. I could sip on absinthe. Do you know what absinthe is?
So it's like an insane alcohol.
It used to be made out of this type of root in this tree. I don't know if it's an absinthe tree. I assume so.
Probably,
But
yeah.
it's such a high alcohol content. It used to be that people would see like fairies.
Don't you like drip it over like a sugar cube or something?
Yeah, so you have a spoon for it. You then pour it over this spoon, and then it goes onto a sugar cube. But I've drank it straight before, so I think all the sugar cubes that we have are expired.
Does sugar expire though?
I mean, I think it does.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I wouldn't trust something that's been sitting for how many years, just like not
That's
being
true. used. That's fair.
Especially if I'm going to consume it. Like Tylenol technically expires.
Okay, so original absinthe was made by soaking wormwood leaves in wine or spirits.
You see the spirits.
I have so this might sound gross, but it's actually delicious. A pumpkin spice hot chocolate.
Huh.
It tastes like cinnamon hot chocolate. It's really good. It's Swiss Miss.
It's really good. Swiss Miss?
Swiss Miss.
I remember there was a Swiss Miss factory in the city that we went to college in.
Mm-hmm.
And we had, for my and yours, our, what the hell is it called? The hell is it called? Sorry, it's a Monday.
Is it a class?
Your major requirements for your major was to take a photography class.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our assignments, we just had to take pictures around town. But I mean, there was more to doing the assignment, color balance,
Mm-hmm.
the composition should look nice, stuff like that. Somebody took a picture of just like the Swiss Miss factory.
Yeah.
And our professor, who was like a really stern, hard to impress little Italian man that drove like a little Alfa Romeo car. Yeah. He looked at it was really dead silence in the class. He looked at the picture and he went, "Oh, lovely, the Swiss Piss Factory." And then he went, "Next," and then just
so
went to the next student's work.
Oh,
that's just like people don't like. I think the stereotype for like an art classes are that you like stand around and like, I don't know, it's all like hippy dippy, like peace and love and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly just like breaking down your ego and other people's egos around you. So that's really what it is. It's hurting people's feelings over and over and over and over again until your skin is like super tough.
Yeah, you get punched in the gut enough and you get abs.
And then you go,
Ah, fun times.
But that one stuck with me because I thought that I laughed. I felt so bad.
That would be like the worst feeling, especially if it's like the first assignment. Oh,
it wasn't.
Cry. Oh, okay.
I think it was like second.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that absinthe is awful.
Did you wait? You actually have some with you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see you leave. You just just bring it out like I'm swinging from the giant bottle of acid.
Well, I don't have a sugar cube, and I don't really remember what happened to the spoon.
Okay.
Mr. Kendra bought this bottle because it was marketed as like a Van Gogh absinthe.
Oh, okay.
So, like, the packaging was really cool. I
Oh,
have
okay.
no idea if Vincent Van Gogh drank absinthe. Have no clue.
Okay.
Don't know. But yeah, and it came with a little Van Gogh spoon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but don't know what happened to it.
Oh well.
So now it just sits up on our liquor shelf.
What does it taste like?
It tastes like lighter fluid and black licorice.
Delicious.
hmm That's how I would describe it to anyone that wants to try absinthe.
So like, if you really need something,
This
or
I
you,
would use this to like sterilize a wound before I would like voluntarily drink it.
but you just did
I
though.
don't have any wounds to sterilize, and it's Spooktober, so
There
this
you
is
go.
my best option.
So we get absinthe.
Yep, that's yep. Absinthe is the Spooktober drink number 2. I'd rather take that old fashioned with chlorophyll.
Yeah, that looks pretty nice right now. So if Kendra starts seeing fairies or werewolves walking around her apartment, you know why. Hey Wanderers, welcome back to another Foolish Wanderers podcast, the podcast about anything and everything. Today is episode 2 of our Spooktober series, 2022. So today we're going to be talking about Bill Ramsey, otherwise known as the possible real-life werewolf.
Wow,
Why? You sound
that's
so enthused.
it's like I don't know. It's just that's quite the nickname.
Yeah, well,
Possibly the maybe real life werewolf could be.
could be. It's like possession or werewolf.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd rather be I don't know a werewolf, I guess,
Yeah.
than possessed.
Yeah, or is it one and the same? Some people like kind of compare it to be one and the same because you're possessed by a
Ooh,
wolf.
oh wow, that's deep. That's deep for a Monday.
Deep thoughts. Deep for a
Deep
Monday night
thoughts.
at like 7:30.
Uh huh.
Oh. Shall we get into it as you start sipping on your absinthe again? Is it getting better with age?
It's getting better the more you drink it.
Oh, no. All
That's for
right.
sure.
Okay, that's good. All right, so let's get into the early start of Bill Ramsey's unfortunate. Some people call it possession. So William or Bill
We
for
calling
short.
him Bill.
I'm calling him Bill.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. So Bill Ramsey was born in the Essex seaside town of Southend. His life as a part-time werewolf started at the age. Okay, so this article that I
Why did you
so
part-time werewolf? Wow, not
part-time
full-time
werewolf.
yet?
Nope, didn't graduate to full-time yet.
Okay.
Nope, still getting in
Work your way
part-time.
up. Okay. Got to
Mhm.
work your way up.
Yep, gotta
Climb
climb up the
that
ladder.
corporate ladder. Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
Yep, so most of this information came from paranorms.com. They had a pretty in-depth article about him. So this is where most of this came from, in case you're curious. I'll leave links to the articles, and I actually found a video of Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Who are those?
Okay, so let me get their definition, their wiki page. Ooh. So Ed and
Add
Lorraine
more
Warren.
spooky sounds when you do that too. Again.
Google Wiki. Ooh. Okay, so Ed and Lorraine Warren, according to Wikipedia, were American paranormal investigators and authors. I think they also had a TV show. Because I'll leave a link to one of the YouTube videos of like their interview they did about like how they found Bill Ramsey and like went to actually exercise, like have him like go through an exorcism. They
So
tried to
they
help him.
tried to help him?
They did, yes.
Okay.
Yep. We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, so Ed and Lorraine Warren are probably the most well-known ghost investigators. Their names are pretty synonymous with it. They've done things like they've investigated Annabelle the doll, Amityville, the Enfield poltergeist. Yeah, so basically just like all these huge paranormal sites. They've went and investigated, and they travel all around and like investigate paranormal sites and houses
Okay.
and things. So
Cool. So it's not their first spooky rodeo.
no, they're
They've
actually
been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Okay.
yep. Yep. We'll get into their side of the story a little bit later, but they were in London at one point for a different trip for like a different reason, and then they heard about Bill and they're like, we need to help him. So we'll get into like kind of like how they helped him and stuff eventually. So
All right. Let's get into it. I'm excited.
nice. All right. So one Sunday evening in 1952, when Bill was outside in his backyard, he began to feel strange. So an
Don't
ice
we all on a Sunday evening because we know that Monday's coming and it's
fair.
either
Yeah.
work or school?
Yeah, it's not the it's like a
The end of the
Garfield moment.
weekend, yeah. The
Yep.
weekend of happiness is dying inside of you, and that's why you feel strange. Well, just for
Mhm.
me, but I guess, Bill, there might be another reason.
Yep, yep, he doesn't wanna go to school.
Okay.
So, all of a sudden, an icy blast of frigid cold swept over him. He began to sweat, and a foul stench came close to making him vomit.
Ugh.
So, it's just like this horrendous odor. At the time, he was close to the garden fence, and the calls of his mother brought him out of whatever was, like, taking control of his brain. Like, he was kind of in a daze a little bit when this all happened all of a sudden, and his mom calling to him snapped him out of it. So intense and pure rage all of a sudden took over him. Using this and the adrenaline fueled strength he now possessed, he uprooted a cemented fence post with the fence still attached. So it's like a chicken wire fence with these cemented in fence posts. He ripped one as a 9-year old, ripped one out of the ground, and started swinging it like a club.
Wow.
So yep. So not even his parents could easily remove the post with their bare hands. So this 9-year-old against two parents,
He's been
they
working
couldn't get away.
out.
Yep, he's
He's
in the gym
been
every day.
juicing.
Mhm. Yep. So then okay, so after his parents tried to get it away from him, Bill then placed the chicken wire into his mouth and began gnawing at it. The
Oh, it's
Colts
like Inca.
is Inca a werewolf? Does she have
She
issues?
looks like one.
She does.
She's just a miniature version. She's a toy werewolf.
Aw, cute.
Instead of a toy poodle, it's a toy werewolf.
Yeah, teacup
Mhm.
werewolf.
Yep.
Yep. So then the cold sensations returned, and a low growl emanated deep within him. So after this, both of his parents ran back inside, leaving Bill alone outside. To just like abandon their kid chewing on chicken wire. So then both of his parents remained inside the house until it was apparent that their son had calmed down. So after
Parents of
this,
the year.
yep. But what are you gonna like at this point? If you can't get a fence post away from a 9-year-old, I'm kind of I'd be afraid, but
I mean, I'd be afraid too. I'd probably faint, so I'd still be out there. So I still get brown. I would still get
I'm
points.
still with my kid, I'm unconscious,
Yep.
but I'm still
So
with him.
I didn't run away. So
Okay.
I didn't back down. I just, fell down and passed out. So that's it.
Okay. Alright. So for nearly 15 years after that terrifying incident, Bill was back to normal. So no more for 15 years, he didn't have any more violent outbursts.
Did his parents like bring him to a doctor, or
I didn't see anything about that. I don't think so.
they just went, "Huh, that's just what
Just
9-year-olds get up to."
yep.
So
I'm just gonna let him calm down, and then he can come in later for supper.
he just had
It's
like
fine.
a weird hulkish temper tantrum, and yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
That's what happens to all 9-year-old children.
Oh, yeah, it's completely normal.
Uh-huh.
Terrible 2s and then the horrendous 9s.
Mhm.
Yep, werewolf 9s. For 15 years, his life pretty much was back to normal, so he grew up, got married, and even had, with his wife, three children. He was a very loving father, and everyone that, like, basically knew him as a very kind gentleman and very good father, so he did, however, have horrible nightmares throughout the first 2 years of his marriage. So each dream was the same, and the results of the dreams ended up identical as well. So Bill always awoke in a cold sweat and was overwhelmed by feelings of dread and unease. So he'd always like wake up super quickly and be freaked out all the time. And then in his dream, he was always a few steps behind his wife, who would then turn to face him and run away in extreme terror, like she was afraid of him.
Mhm.
So in 1967, the nightmares ended. 18 months later, Bill woke up one night to hear that what he thought was panting of a wild animal somewhere in his bedroom. He did, in fact, hear a creature. It was himself. So he was panting in the darkness of his bedroom.
So far, it just sounds like a really bad anxiety disorder.
Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So once again, there was a lull in activity for about 15 years. So there's like a weird 15-year period thing that keeps going on and off with him. So fast forward to 1983, Bill was out with some friends at a local pub. After several drinks, Bill began to feel the same icy chills that he felt when he was 9 years old. He made an excuse and headed to the restroom, where once there, he checked himself in the mirror and saw a werewolf looking back at him.
Ooh, it's like the Thriller music video. Okay.
Yep, yep. So this is nothing compared to what was to happen on the way home. So this is where things kind of get even creepier. All right. So during the car ride home, and without any warning, Bill began to growl and immediately turned to his fellow passenger, both of his hands twisted into claws as he tried to bite the leg of his friend. The driver didn't panic, rather, he brought the car to a stop and tried to get Bill out of the back of the car. It took several minutes and quite a bit of effort to finally get Bill out of the car. By then the frenzy had dissipated. So he turned to the person sitting next to him, grabbed him, and tried to bite his leg. Just a normal Tuesday, you know?
The 9-year-old is scarier.
Is it? Oh, I guess. Yeah, because you're
I don't
pulling your friend's
know.
posts out.
Yeah,
I don't
it's like a
know.
weird feat of I don't know, it's maybe it's because it's like a creepy feat of strength.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Both aren't good, but yeah.
Mhm.
You can see,
And
yeah.
him, like, biting somebody, like, leaving a pub, I would just think that he was really drunk and enraged, I guess, I don't know.
You just drank a whole bottle of absinthe.
Mhm.
Yep, mhm.
That's
Yep.
what's gonna
It was
happen
a
to
nice
me.
you saw a nice turkey leg. Alright, so shortly before Christmas of 1983, Bill began to suffer from chest pains, and thoughts immediately turned to a possible heart attack. Bill checked himself into the emergency room of the local hospital and was halfway through a blood pressure exam when he sank his teeth into the arm of the nurse.
Ah!
Yeah. So this is the same year as the leg biting. So things are ramping up.
Mhm.
He then ran through the ward almost like he was possessed by something. Witnesses later said that Bill had hunched shoulders, both hands had curled into talons or claws, and his lips were barred like a rabid animal.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Y- Yeah. So anyone that tried to approach him was knocked down easily with almost superhuman strength. So it took quite a few people to finally subdue the rampaging man. A police officer finally managed to place handcuffs around Bill's wrists. However, this was not sufficient, and a tranquilizer was used to finally subdue him. So even though like a bunch of people were on top of him in handcuffs, he's still thrashing around and like
Mhm.
yeah.
Trying to break free.
Yep. So the following morning, after the tranquilizer had worn off and a hearty breakfast, the attending doctor listened to the whole story and recommended that Bill remains under observation. So, like, not a mental hospital, but like, we're gonna watch you. So, Bill, however, was a voluntary patient at the time and was fully entitled to check himself out.
Mhm.
And so he did, but within 2 months, he was back.
Okay.
So,
Who'd
in
he
January.
bite now?
So in January 1984, Bill had just finished a visit with his mother when he began to feel an attack coming on. He made it to the same hospital on the same terms of his previous visit. The attending nurse was alone with Bill in the emergency room and feared for her life. She told Bill that she was going to find a doctor. Bill then turned to the side and lunged for the orderly. So it's not quite a nurse, but someone that, like, helps to basically
Mhm.
helps the nurses and everything. So yeah, so that's who he tried to go after next, was the orderly. So, four police officers happened to be outside at this time and immediately entered the hospital and circled Bill. They had a standoff for a few seconds until Bill began snarling and growling on all fours.
Jeez.
So, the policeman advanced on Bill, who defended himself. One of the four police officers suffered wounds so severe that he ended up in the hospital for another 4 days.
Oh my goodness, was he just biting and scratching him?
Yeah, something like that,
He's
yeah.
just acting like a wild animal?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Mhm.
So all four managed to handcuff Bill again. The short walk to the waiting squad car went off without any incident. At that time, Bill had seemingly went back to normal. So like somehow came to and like was completely fine with going with
Does
the
he
police
remember what
officers.
happens? Like,
I have to watch the interview again. I don't think so. I think it just kind of like
blacks
zones
out?
out.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he arrived at the local police station, they immediately summoned the police surgeon. Bill considered the suggestion of checking himself into a mental institution, but decided against it. Which at this point I would, because like you're hurting people and this is something you need to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of need to go, my
You
guy.
can't kind of ignore it, or ignoring it obviously doesn't help. It's
Yeah, it keeps coming back,
Mhm.
especially all these incidences in such a short amount of time. Yeah. So citing the stigma that he might.
Oh, wait, hold on, sorry.
Oh, you can.
Police surgeon?
Mhm.
What is that?
I think it's like
Isn't
a
it shouldn't it be
doctor.
sergeant?
I think it's like a medical. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So in the UK, police surgeons provide medical care and undertake examina. So basically, it's somebody in the police station that examines somebody for like any medical issues, basically.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we have such a thing here.
Let me Google.
Sounds like it's just a European thing.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, police officers are trained in like, they should be trained in, like, emergency, like, first aid stuff, like,
Mhm.
basic, and we have EMTs.
Oh, I think well, there's at least one in New York, it says. Office of the Supervising Chief Surgeon in NYPD. So,
Hmm,
I suppose in, like, bigger bureaus, I suppose they might have somebody. Yeah, basically, they take care of medical stuff, so
cool.
okay, so basically, after Bill said no to accepting the help or going to the mental institution, he was released because he was apparently in control and rational.
But didn't he
So,
injure that police officer?
yeah, bad enough to be in the
Oh,
hospital for 4 days. So,
yep, just let him go free.
yep, good judgment.
Mhm.
In the summer of 1987, Bill was back at the police station. This time, however, he was much more normal. Having made a citizen's arrest to a local teenage prostitute, he drove her to the station.
Oh, that seems suspect.
It kind of does, yeah.
Obviously, I don't know the true story, but that just kinda seems suspect.
Yeah, yep.
Mhm. Okay, sure, sure, Bill.
Sure. So the second that he parked his car, she fled into the station. Bill once again felt the now familiar sensations surging from the middle of his chest. It's like the cold sweats, all the
Mhm.
stuff. As the policeman approached the car, so the officer, considerably bigger than Bill, started to question him and made the mistake of gently touching Bill's arm. Bill then all of a sudden felt the werewolf come on, basically. The wolf within him took immediate hold of Bill, and the officer was thrown onto the ground and was having the life choked out of him until help finally came. So this guy, this bigger than Bill police officer, was being attacked by Bill.
Mhm.
Yep. So Bill was so wild, it was said that it took a dozen policemen to hold him down and 2 injections of tranquilizers to finally restrain him.
Alright, is this the time that he's gonna have to, like, go through some actual tests, or is he gonna be able to
Yep. So for the next 10 days, countless MRIs, X-rays, and psychiatric tests were performed on Bill.
Mhm.
They could not, however, determine what was wrong with him.
They have to have theories.
Oh, I'm sure they did, yeah.
Mhm.
Like some sort of, like, hormone imbalance or something, yeah.
Wait,
So
that's their theory?
oh, I didn't see their theories, but that's, like
Oh.
to me, that'd be make most sense, like, some sort of, like, hormone or, like, chemical imbalance in your brain, like, makes you snap. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's just, like, the worst anxiety I've ever heard in my entire life.
So if you have really bad anxiety, you're gonna, like, act like a rabid animal?
Well, that's kind of I don't know, that's like putting it I don't know. It's remind well, he has like this human who like this superhuman strength
Mhm,
sort of, and it reminds me of stories when a car or something like falls on a baby and then the
mhm.
baby's mother is able to lift the car up.
Isn't that adrenaline, though?
Yeah, but like you get adrenaline rush when you have like anxiety.
Okay, fair.
So maybe he goes into some sort of like I mean, who I have no
Maybe.
idea. There's probably theories out there that,
Oh, yeah.
way more educated than mine.
Alright, so now enter Ed and Lorraine Warren. So during this time, American demonologists, as they're called, Ed and Lorraine Warren were in London for a trip. Bill's story appeared on a television show at the time of their stay. Lorraine immediately considered that Bill was being possessed and got in touch with the Southend on-Sea police station. After talking with both sides, the Warrens obtained the opportunity to talk to the Ramseys. So the Warrens negotiated with Bill and finally convinced him to come to their church in Connecticut and undergo an exorcism with their own specialist, Bishop Robert McKenna. Bill agreed and made the trip with his wife in 1989. A tabloid newspaper, The People, sponsored the trip. The night before the exorcism was due to take place, Bill tried to strangle his wife while she slept. When the exorcism actually began, Bill was not at all impressed. The service was being conducted in Latin, and for the half an hour, nothing happened. Bill then took on an entirely different appearance. His face contorted, and both of his hands formed claws. McKenna commanded the demon to leave, and the full force of the werewolf fury descended on McKenna one time and disappeared for good. The whole event was actually recorded on film, too, so there's actually video evidence of this happening.
Of this?
Mhm.
Did you watch it?
I watched, like, little clips, but it honestly gives me the creeps, so I
Is
didn't
it
watch the full
creepy?
thing. It's just, like because I do have a
Describe what's
photo.
happening.
Okay, I have to watch it again, but, like, the claws kind of thing, it's like his hands are just, like, contorting. It's not,
Yep.
like, nails shooting out, like, actual dog claws. And his face does kind of, like, contort, but it's just kinda like a pain kind of a thing looking.
Mhm.
So it's
Okay.
like, I don't know, it's odd. Again, I didn't watch the full thing because it creeps me out, but that's kinda what I just saw, and I do have, like, a still image too, so I'll try to leave a link to, any of the videos, in the description if you guys wanna check them out. So, the last time Bill Ramsey appeared in public was in 1992 when he updated his progress. Just before his exorcism, the transformations were increasing in both frequency and seriousness. Since that time, there have been no incidents recorded, so like at least not that we know of. But no one has been rampaging uncontrollably through the streets of Southend on Sea for almost 15 years. So yeah, so no one's really heard from him since
So he's just
exorcism.
so where is he? He's just living his life in Southend?
Supposedly, yeah, yeah. So like in the Ed and Lorraine Warren interview that I'll leave a link to,
Mhm,
they kind of talk about like how he kind of just went back to normal. And they talked to him, and Lorraine was like saying like how he was such a kind gentleman and like he was such a nice guy, but then this creature thing like overtook him, and it's just not him.
mhm.
And then Ed mentioned it was something to the effect of like, basically the wolf possessing him, not necessarily like a demon, but it was like a wolf that possessed him.
So does he howl, or is it just because, like, a werewolf
Super strong and like
is, like, super
over.
yeah, like a mythical creature?
So I think there is like growling for sure.
Okay,
I don't
he
know
could
about
be a
the
bear,
howling.
a badger,
A werebear.
a honey badger,
Oh yeah.
like a wolverine, he could be Wolverine Man. I guess just werewolf is
So you don't like werewolf? You like a different creature?
I mean,
This is
I
some
I don't
serious thought.
I don't care, it's like
Yeah.
he could be a werewolf. Werewolf sells papers
Yeah, I think
and
that's part of
clicks.
it too, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, 'cause it's not like he grew, like, facial hair and stuff and, like, hair all over. It
that
was
would be
just
cool.
that would be terrifying if that happened.
I think this
Um,
is more terrifying.
just him
Mhm,
lashing out, yeah,
mhm.
it is scary, but so,
Yeah,
yeah, so
so
supposedly now he's back to normal, and I
unless
don't
he's
know.
dead
Yeah, I don't know that either. It's kinda
or,
hard to
like,
find
locked
anything on him.
away.
Yeah, that's true too. And I did see too that, like, in another interview, apparently he went back to the police station every once in a while, like, when he felt these episodes coming on to be locked in a cell.
Why? Okay, that's
Yeah.
why, alright.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
"How stupid you're gonna go back there again and bite and injure people?
No.
Like, go to a" yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
he, like,
so
is
he
actually trying to be safer, like
oh, that's good.
yeah, but yeah.
I would get more psychological tests done.
Mhm.
I'm reading they said that he didn't show any signs of schizophrenia or other mental illness, and he had no brain tumors. Because I was thinking maybe it was a brain tumor.
Yeah, that's true,
No
yeah.
brain tumors, so I would still get tests done, like, there's something going on.
There's some yeah, yeah, the whole idea of, like, possession and stuff, it terrifies me. It's all throughout history, whether or not, like, I don't wanna see it.
I think it's a mental something weird,
Could
something
be.
that they don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
So, these Lorraine and wait, what the heck are the other people's name? Lorraine and what? Bobbitt?
Ed.
There we go.
Bobbit.
Is there a Bobbit in this story, or did I
A
just come up
bobbit.
with a
What?
Boppet?
No, I don't think there's any bobbit.
Okay, so Lorraine and Ed, did they just were like, "Well, on your way." They didn't have a theory, they thought he was just possessed?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I do have, like, the link if you wanna watch. It's like a half-hour TV show interview thing. Yeah. It's kinda, like, about, how Lorraine was she was calling all over trying to get a hold of anybody who knew
Mhm.
about Bill, just, like, trying to get in touch with anybody that knew how to get in contact with him and stuff, and it took a while, actually. And I think it was, like, right before they were supposed to head back to the US that they finally got in touch with, the police officers in Southend, or South yeah, wherever Bill was, so
So do you think it's a demonic possession, Katrina?
do I think so?
Mhm.
I mean, it's plausible. I think it's more of like a mental thing. Because the other thing too with like exorcisms, I've heard so many stories of like people that had nothing wrong with them, but people just thought like their mental state was wrong. So like it's like kids who like had like liked certain things, right? Or thought they were like, gay or whatever, right?
Mhm.
People, especially back in like the 1900s or whatever earlier, thought they
Oh,
were
probably like
possessed.
2.
So there's stories of kids like being forced in this room with just the priest and like maybe one other adult and forced to sit in a chair as they get screamed at.
Oh,
And
that's lovely.
it's like it's the worst thing. And so like
Torture.
and they it is, yeah. So basically what they like after being yelled at for hours and hours and hours, not having like any food or water or anything, you start to break. And so like that's when they scream and like
So they're causing you
supposedly
some they're giving you a mental disorder rather than, like,
then exorcism.
fixing some fake one that they came up with.
Yeah, basically, because like, at the end, like, there's this I don't remember where I heard that story, but there was a kid that got screamed at for hours, and they finally just, like, played along to make it stop.
Oh yeah, there's I can't remember what the actual term is, but there's instances of this happening all the time with arrests, like
Yeah,
police
false
interrogations. What
oh,
is it called? False.
false confessions or
Yeah,
yeah, something
because
like
it
that,
just
yeah.
is hours and hours and hours of like a person, yeah, just getting
Mhm.
interrogated,
Yeah,
and
and it's
then yep, they yeah, you just want it to stop, so you're just like, yep.
yeah, and that can get you, like yeah, put you in jail or worse, and that's horrible. So, yeah. So that's a very real thing too that, like, could have been, what Bill went through, but I think what they said was, like, it was only, like, a half an hour thing, so I don't know. It is all recorded too,
Okay,
so, yeah. So you can watch it if you'd like, if you're not creeped out like I am.
I might watch it in the daytime.
Yeah, that'd be smart, yeah.
Yeah, not
Yep.
in the night. Yep.
You just see Inko walk up behind you as this is playing on your screen.
She's so cute.
She is cute, and she starts
Mhm.
walking on 2 legs.
I would be still that'd be I s it'd still be kinda cute at first, and then I get creeped out.
Okay. There's, like, stories too, like, where I found this article that says 12 real werewolf cases throughout history,
Oh,
but it's
there's
kind of
there's one.
there's one.
Peter the Wild Boy.
Peter the Wild Boar. I don't think I
Yep.
looked at that
So, I have it pulled up right here.
one. Ooh.
So, it was Peter the Wild Boy, happened in 1725. He was found wandering naked on all fours through a German forest. Many thought he was a werewolf, or at least raised by wolves,
Mhm.
and Peter ate with his hands and couldn't speak. He was eventually adopted by the courts of King George the First and King George the Second, and lived out his days as their pet in
Oh,
England.
that's sad.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, no, that's it's sick. Research has shown Peter likely had Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, which is a condition that was discovered in 1978. So just think this happened in 1725, and they just found out what this was in
not that long ago.
1978. So Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, it causes lack of speech, seizures, distinct facial features, difficulty breathing, and intellectual challenges.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Is this, like this might be very sad, but, like, is this where, like, the story of Mowgli, the Jungle Book came from?
There's yeah, but there it's not this one. There's
Oh,
another
okay.
one. There's a real life one that was actually raised by wolves.
Okay.
Oh, and if anyone listened to last week's episode, we were talking about where the heck Bambi takes place, and if that's it's apparently Maine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so Dina or is it Dinah? I think it's Dina or Dinah.
Okay.
Sanichar, so Sanichar, was raised by wolves in India's Uttar Pradesh jungle until hunters found him in 1867 and brought him to an orphanage. He would later serve as Rudyard Kipling's inspiration for the character of Mowgli. And there's actually a picture of him if you want to take a look, but
Okay.
kind of has a sad life.
Oh.
Yeah, so hunters. So he spent like Dina spent
Mhm.
like his first few years of his life thinking he was a wolf, and then hunters discovered him lying in a cave. They took him to an orphanage. So there, missionaries tried to teach him all the things he never learned, starting with the basics, walking and talking. However, the gulf between human behavior and animal instinct proved too wide for Dina.
Oh.
So yeah, it didn't end the way the Disney movie ends. That's for sure.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of amazing though that wolves actually raised him? Like, to me that's kind of cool that they took him in and, like, actually raised him.
I mean, we don't know if that happened for sure.
Okay.
Right? Maybe.
Maybe okay.
Like they thought these hunters that found him, he was like in a cave, and they assumed that like a
Oh,
wolf was
okay.
guarding it.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, we don't they don't yeah, there isn't proof, but it makes for a good story.
That's true.
Mhm. So when they found him, he was probably like 5 or 6, they think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he preferred to eat raw meat, and he had trouble standing on 2 feet. So like we've seen like on TikTok and stuff, like the animals that will adopt other animals as their babies, like orphan them. I
Yeah,
don't know if they would do that for like a human.
fair, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, what happened to him? Maybe he was raised by squirrels. That would be cooler.
Raised by squirrels.
I'm trying to figure out what happened to him. Okay, so he never learned how to speak. He
Okay.
learned what like the meanings of the words meant, but he
Okay.
could never speak himself.
At least that's something, though. You can at least communicate in some sort of way.
hmm So he did learn to stand upright, and he began to dress himself, and he even picked up a bad habit of smoking cigarettes.
Oh, no.
Okay, here's an interesting little tidbit. I had no idea. So, Dina or Dinah was not the only wolf child living at the Sikandra Mission Orphanage at the time. If Superintendent Lewis, the head of that place, is to
Mhm.
be believed, he was joined by two other boys and one girl, who were also said to have been raised by wolves.
That's a lot of kids.
hmm So, according to one geographer, the orphanage took in so many wolf children over the years that they no longer looked up when another kid was discovered in the jungle.
That's
Their discovery created more surprise than the delivery of the daily supply of butcher's meat. That's like a quote in probably somebody's journal.
that's insane that there's
Mhm.
that many kids that are just like abandoned in the forest.
In fact, stories of children raised by wolves have popped up all across India. In most cases, the missionaries caring for the children were the only sources, so whether they were really feral remains up for debate. So they could just be
Mhm.
bad behaved orphans.
Or they just
Yeah.
lied.
What they lied for funding.
Yeah, yeah, it's a valid point, yeah.
What happened to Dina? Oh, here's one. So Oksana Malaya was a Ukrainian girl born in the 90s, was raised by stray dogs after her alcoholic parents left her outside when she was just a baby.
Oh,
So when she was taken into custody by social workers, she couldn't speak and moved around on all fours, and after years of therapy, she learned how to speak Russian. And now when she was interviewed, her and her boyfriend, they work on a farm caring for animals.
well, that's cool.
So there's a lot of these different kind of stories.
I feel like dogs, though, are pretty nurturing. Like, they take care of,
Yeah.
like, a lot of animals. Like, I've seen
They
ducks,
give
I've
you
seen
kisses.
cats. They do give you kisses, yes.
They take care of Kendras.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's cool. All right, Wanderers, we hope you enjoyed this second episode in our Spooktober series. If you have any suggestions for any future episodes, we'd love to hear from you guys, so please feel free to send us an email at fwplisteners@gmail.com.
And as always, new episodes of the FWP are out on Wednesday, Thursday from wherever you get your podcast from. And if you'd like, please consider leaving a review.
Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Or a 4-star. Like, I'm not picky.
Yes. And thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.